Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the thing that nobody wants to talk about. It's like taboo to talk about this, and when you do start talking about it, people kind of just roll their eyes, or they're like, yeah, whatever, I know, but they just still do it, and it's killing a lot of riders, and that is trying to keep up with others. You're in the twisty mountain roads, and no matter how much you know, I shouldn't try to keep up. I should ride my own ride. I should go the pace that I want to go. No one should dictate the speed that I go into a corner. No one should determine that, you know, if I don't want to go around this car right now, I shouldn't go around the car, but, you know, you just get sucked into it. It's like gravity. It just pulls you into trying to keep up, and for whatever reason, right? There's a lot of reasons why. Ego, trying to be cool, trying to be part of the guys, whatever, but it's just, man, there's the amount of crashes that are happening because of this is just absolutely insane. Just here locally in San Diego, I mean, 2 or 3 riders crashed that I know of just within the last 2 weeks, and 1 rider died just a couple weeks ago, and it's, man. So trying to keep up. So for example, and keep in mind, this isn't just other people outside of San Diego. This isn't just, oh, some people don't know what they're doing and they don't try, and they try to keep up, but not me and my friends here in San Diego. I'm just going to talk about my own friend group here in San Diego, my own friend group. So I do group rides almost every Saturday and Sunday. Between 10 and 20 people show up every single weekend. We go ride 150 miles everywhere, all around San Diego, twisty mountain roads. And I pretty much say something similar to the same thing every single group ride. I talk about, okay, in long straightaways, you know, ride staggered. If I stick my foot out, you stick your foot out. I'm just warning you there's something on the road on that side. You know, ride your own ride. If I want to pass a car, I'm going to pass a car. If you don't want to pass a car, what should you do? Do not pass the car. And I tell everybody, look, if I'm going into a corner at 80 miles per hour, and you're like, screw that, I'm not going to go into the corner at 80, I'm only comfortable going 50. What do you think you should do? We should only go 50 miles per hour into the corner, right? Ride your own ride, do your own thing. And I tell everyone, I was like, when you get down to the gas station to where we're all going, 30 miles away of twisties, just get there when you get there. If you're right behind me the whole time, great. If you want to go faster than me, great. I will move over and wave you on. You go as fast as you want to go. I'm just going to ride to my comfort. My comfort speed may be way faster than what you're comfortable with. Therefore, you should not ride my speed. And that goes for everybody in the group ride, right? So I tell people this stuff. I'm like, look, if I get to the gas station and you're right behind me, fantastic. If I get to the gas station, there's 4 people behind me, and then there's a 10-minute break, and then the rest of the people show up after that. That's also fine. And oftentimes when that happens, the last person to show up, we all go up to them, and, you know, we're all parked and everything, we all go up to them and we give them like a round of applause. Right? Not literally, but, you know, we do. I'm like, hey man, you know what, good job, good for you riding your own ride, good for you not trying to keep up, good for you not making passes if you don't want to pass. And guess what, you made it here, you made it to the gas station where we all are. You're just 10 minutes behind us. Who cares? No one's getting paid to do this stuff. You're okay. You didn't go wide, did you? Nope, you didn't have any close calls. You didn't get any tickets. You're good. You're your best case scenario. And I tell people so often, I was like, dude, my goal every time I get on this bike and go riding is to get back home with no crashes, no tickets, not even any close calls. And a lot of people can't say that. Every time they get on the bike, they do something crazy, right? They're like freaking themselves out on every single ride. Like, oh man, I went over the double yellow, almost did this, I was running from the cops, just craziness. It doesn't make any damn sense, right? But trying to keep up specifically in the canyons, that's like the center of the bullseye. That's where most people are crashing, because you know, going 40 miles per hour on a city street like this, people aren't really crashing doing this stuff. And if you're coming through an intersection where someone may pull out in front of you, how about you cover the controls and slow down and predict that's going to happen, right? People crash like that, multi-vehicle accidents, intersections, sure. But most often than not, it's the rider being an idiot. You know, riding way too fast, doesn't practice emergency braking, not predicting that's going to happen in the first place, etc. But single vehicle accidents are like the majority of accidents, especially fatality accidents on motorcycles. They mess up a corner. It's written to failure to negotiate a corner. They usually go wide at the exit and crash. Either they're going too fast into it, they don't know where to look, they have no idea how to trail brake, or they're simply just going too fast for their comfort, trying to keep up, and all these things happen at once, right? If the rider in front of you is going faster than your comfort zone, and you try to keep up and you go beyond your comfort zone, it's just 2 and 2. It's just going to be a disaster. It's not going to work out well. It's going to be a bad day. It's going to be a bad day. So right here in San Diego, in my friend group, I go on rides. I tell everybody the same thing. It's the same thing they hear every single week. And guess what happens? People still try to keep up. They still ride over the limits. And I have a couple buddies here in San Diego in my friend group that try to keep up, go a little bit quicker than, you know, what they're comfortable with, try to keep up, try to be up in the front, right behind me, and they crashed. Broken collarbone, low side of their bike, sent to the hospital, destroyed their bike. It's like, even my buddies right here, no one's immune to this, right? And I did this. I did this for years when I first started riding. I had a CBR 1000 RR as my very first bike. That was my very first bike, 1,000 cc sport bike. How stupid, right? Because I had no one to mentor me. I had no one to tell me, you know, that's a bad idea and blah, 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 blah. But that was my first, and I'd go riding in the canyons with this group, and I would just be like, man, they're so much faster. I got to try to keep up. And I wasn't doing it the right way. I wasn't trying to be better. I wasn't trying to be a better rider. I was only focused on being faster. And that's why I crashed. My one only crashed on the public road. And I wasn't even chasing anybody. I was just trying to go fast, and that's the problem. I've been preaching now, if you want to call it that, for years. Focus on riding better. If you become a better rider, the speed is a natural byproduct, but the goal is to get your skill insanely high. Therefore, if you wanted to ride a little bit quicker and have some fun in the canyon roads, well, you could do it, and it's not really a big deal, right? Also, if you wanted to ride slower and just chill out, ride one-handed, just enjoy the scenery, you could do that too, because your skill is really high. And that's the main thing to focus on. Get your skill up. Get your skill up here, and the pace you ride is totally easy way down here. Now, if your skill's way down here by my phone, the same exact pace may seem crazy to you because your skill is so low. So get your skill up. That's the whole point. Learn how to ride better. And what's the best way to do that? Formal training by experts, expert riders, expert coaches. Take as many courses as you possibly can, as often as you can, and then practice what you were taught. Because if you just take a course, you're going to improve a little bit, but you know, 1 or 2 days ain't going to be life-changing unless you take that information and do something with it. If you don't go practice what was taught to you, I mean, this isn't the Matrix. You're not just going to download everything you learned instantly and automatically retain it, understand it, and apply it. It does not work like that. It takes a lot of practice to be able to demonstrate that you know how to do these things repeatedly, consistently, okay? You could also, besides doing that, because, you know, people don't have the time or the money to take a bunch of courses every month or whatever, ride with people better than you. Find someone who's actually a good rider and is a good way of explaining how to do things, and get mentored by somebody. If you're riding with a group that's riding around in t-shirt and shorts and like to do wheelies on the highway, well, you're riding with the wrong group of people. And you're going to get sucked up into that, and you're going to be the next one on the news saying, oh, another motorcycle died, losing control on the highway, and they crashed, they were doing stunts and wheelies. Just idiots. Absolute idiots, making everybody look bad. And I love stunt riding. Just for an example, Jason Britton, sponsored by Kawasaki, Chris Teeks McNeil, sponsored by BMW. These are some of the best stunt riders in the world. But guess what? They don't do it on the highway. That's the whole difference, right? Go find a big parking lot somewhere and do all the burnouts and wheelies and stoppies you want to. But if you start doing that crap on the highway, you're just making everybody look stupid, and it's just absolutely unnecessary, right? So what do you do about it? So a lot of the times people think when they come to my group rides, hey, if I keep up with Greg, I keep up with MotoJitsu, wow, I get to ride right behind MotoJitsu, I'm able to keep up with him, wow, that's good. First of all, keep in mind, I'm not riding as fast as I possibly can on the street. Ever. 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 When I want to ride as fast and as hard as I possibly can, I'll be at the track. I'll be at a formal course like Superbike School, and I will really be pushing really hard. If you're faster than me when I'm doing that, good for you, bro. I do not care one bit. I'm not in competition with anybody else. I'm just trying to be a little bit better than what I was. That's it. If you're in competition with me, you're always going to be losing, because there's always someone quicker than you. Guarantee it. Sorry, you're not Marquez, bro. There's going to be someone quicker, more knowledgeable than you. So if you're comparing yourself to others, it's going to be a bad day. It ain't going to work out for your benefit, I'm telling you right now. But when I'm riding around the street, if you think in your mind, oh, I'm riding right behind MotoJitsu, I'm able to keep up with him, awesome. Well, good job. But just know I'm not riding as fast as I possibly can. I'm riding at a pace that's comfortable for me. Now, if you're right behind me and you're also keeping up right behind me and you're also comfortable with that pace, well, good job. Great. If you're riding on my group ride and you're not able to be right behind me because that's not a comfortable pace for you, that's fine. The point is, it doesn't matter. I'm not looking in my mirror trying to figure out who's behind me as if I could really tell. Who really cares, right? I just see a bunch of headlights and helmets. Unless you have some kind of bizarre gear, or I know who you are and I'm friends with you personally, I don't know who the hell's behind me, nor am I even looking in my mirrors to see who's behind me. What do people think is going to happen? We're going to get down to the end of my group ride and be like, hey, good job of being right behind me. You're really quick, man. Awesome. Like, I'm not a cheerleader, bro. I only say things to praise people when they make good decisions. Good job for being the last one and being 20 minutes behind everybody else. You did not try to keep up. You did not pass when you didn't feel comfortable passing, and you rode within your comfort. Did you have any close calls? No, I did not. Did you feel comfortable the whole ride? Yes, I did. Well, then you won, bro. That's a winner. That's what I'm impressed by. Don't try to impress anybody. Don't try to keep up. Don't try to do anything like that. You just literally, like Jocko Willink, right? He has that book, Extreme Ownership. You got to take responsibility for yourself, and you got to be like, look, I don't care if I'm riding with 20 people and I'm literally the slowest guy of all 20 people. You got to be okay with that. If not, you are going to be the next person on the news. Your family's going to be the next family that gets a call saying you crashed, and now your whole damn family's devastated, if you even survive. It can't be worth it, right? What you could go to track days, you could go to schools, you could do a whole lot of stuff. Do my MotoJitsu drills in a parking lot if you seriously want to challenge yourself and do something extremely difficult. That I will be impressed by. Holy crap, dude, you could do black belt weave 10 times in a row. Good job, bro. That's hard. That eliminates 90% of all riders. Cannot do that. If you think you could do it, go in the description, download my app, look at black belt weave and my MotoJitsu master riding program. Go ahead and try it. I challenge you. Feel free. Have fun. Do all my black belt drills. If you're like, there's no way I could do that, well, go back, start at white belt, and then continue on from there. But focus on improving your skill. That should be your main focus every time you ride. Let me practice something different today. I'm going to go out on the twisty roads. You know what? Let me do rear brake only for about 20 miles. What does that feel like? How much does the rear brake work? When do I have to start braking? When does the rear brake fail? At what speed? At what pace? When do I have to start going to the front and I can no longer go to the rear? Right, you're going to learn all these different things by isolating one thing. Let me ride one-handed for 20 miles in the twisties. Why would I do that? Well, to practice my counter steering. Am I actually consciously counter steering, or am I just, I don't know, kind of just hoping the bike leans where I want it to lean? Are you the one in control of your motorcycle, or is the bike just, you know, doing what it does because you're not really consciously counter steering? Riding one-handed, you're going to figure that out very quickly. Do you actually know how to steer this motorcycle, or are you just winging it? And I'll tell you right now, you can't get better at winging it. I'd rather be the disciplined, focused, you know, really concentrated rider doing precisely what I want the bike to do because I'm telling it to do it because I'm deliberate and intentional with all my actions, versus the rider who's like, I don't know, bro, I just ride, bro, I just ride, bro, I don't know, bro, I just ride, bro. Okay, well, you're an idiot, and you're not going to be riding, bro, for too much longer, because if you don't know how to do something and you're just hoping you're going to magically figure it out in an emergency, I got bad news for you, buddy. I got bad news for you. So the moral of the story is, don't try to keep up. Don't try to do anything outside of your comfort zone. If you go on a group ride with people and they're riding faster than what you want to ride, you gotta be disciplined enough and mature enough to be like, you know what, I probably should not be going this fast. I'm gonna slow the hell down. Now, if you do that and then people decide to make fun of you, I mean, if they're your friends, they might mess with you just like in a joking way, like buddies, we always mess with each other, like in a jokingly funny way, but they're not going to be serious about it. Like, we say to each other all the time, my buddy's like, oh, bro, chicken strips, you're freaking slow. I should be, like, we'd be sarcastically stupid, making fun of the idiots who take that stuff seriously, right? But if I go up the mountain and then 10 seconds later, then everybody else is there, no one cares. It's like, okay, did you ride to your comfort? Are you good? Are you okay? You didn't crash? Well, then you won, bro. No one cares. If you ride faster than me, great, good job. I'll give you a high five. You just stop trying to keep up with people. Be a little bit more mature while riding, because this is dangerous, right? This is, what, 28 times more dangerous than driving a car? You got to take this stuff seriously. It's incredibly fun, obviously. I ride 3,000 miles a month. It's incredibly fun, but it's also extremely dangerous. Therefore, you have to take it seriously for a good chunk of time and really get the fundamentals down to like a PhD level. Really know what you're doing. Practice emergency braking. Practice your swerving. Consciously countersteering. Learning how to use the brakes. Get your vision on point, right? Really look where you want to be going. Take more formal training by experts. If you think you're hot shit, you obviously haven't been to superbike school, because you realize you're not. Those guys will ride around you one-handed laughing at your fastest speed. Not literally, but they're able to. If you think you're the greatest rider ever, please feel free to go do a personal one-on-one track day with Jason Pridmore. He did a 153 around Chuckwalla with a passenger. So if your fastest lap is 158 and you think you're the greatest thing since sliced bread, well, there's someone faster than you with the passenger by 5 seconds. So you might want to humble yourself a little bit there, kid. But if you're afraid to go to an environment like Superbike School or a private day with Jason Pridmore because you're going to be humbled, well, you're already failing. You're already in the wrong mentality. You should be excited and motivated to ride with people so much more knowledgeable and better rider than you. And if that intimidates you and you don't want to do it, you're the problem. You are your own problem. Because that is exactly what you need to be doing, is riding with people better than you. And if you're afraid to do that, I got bad news. You're always going to be the best guy in your group and your friends, and you're always going to think you're the top dog and hot shit, but I'll tell you what, you're not. Only the people that's been to a tremendous amount of high-level training realize there is so much more to learn, and that should be motivational. It should be inspirational. It shouldn't be, oh man, you know, this guy, blah, blah, blah. It's just, that's just ego BS talking, and that's not the way to go. So don't try to keep up with anybody. Ride your own ride, and really be serious about that. By the way, this is my brand new, to me, 2025 BMW R1300 GS Adventure Trophy Edition. Had 900 miles when I picked it up, and it's freaking awesome. 8-gallon fuel tank, electronic windshield, SOS button. If I tip over, someone's going to call me through here. Hey, are you okay? Do you need me to call 911? If I don't answer, they will call 911 for me and send an ambulance to my location. This has nothing to do with the cell phone service. There's no service that's free with the bike, and it's just with the bike. Has the GPS, electronic everything, windscreen, power, you know, shaft drive, top case, all the stuff. This is the GS Adventure, so almost an 8-gallon tank. I could go like 300 miles on one tank of gas. Already came with the crash bars. Already came with auxiliary lights right there. Blinkers are up here, super bright. Not doing anything to the bike. It doesn't need to do anything. I just put the top case on it, which is cool because the top case also has a light and a power thing in here, so I could literally make this a refrigerator if I wanted to. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't try to keep up. Ride your own ride and live to ride another day. Talk to you guys later.